My name's Stacey Madden. I'm a mind-body therapy practitioner, a yoga therapist, as well as a mindful somatic movement practitioner specializing in somatic experiencing. I'm going to share with you today a couple of helpful and handy somatic movement and breath techniques to assist you and your clients in staying present and grounded in their body during session. So if you find that your client is starting to feel flooded with emotion, or they're tipping into a dysregulated fight, flight, or freeze state, or even you yourself notice the session is just moving a little too fast, you're feeling a little fast, and you just need to slow things down, one of my favorite techniques is something that I like to call the 3 Dantian breathwork techniques. Dantians from traditional Chinese medicine speak about these different energy centers in the body where we can kind of manage our stress response. I like utilizing this because it's a way to begin to slow our breathing down, become a little bit more embodied without just trying to drop into a slow, deep diaphragm or belly breath with our clients. Often, if they've come into your office already feeling activated, trying to enforce a slower parasympathetic state quickly can tip them the other way into further dysregulation. It's almost like telling someone to relax when they're upset. It usually doesn't work and makes things worse. So this breathwork technique that I like to offer, anybody can do it, and it's just a way to start to encourage slowing the breath down and noticing the body come into itself and staying in the present moment. I encourage you to practice this with your clients as a form of co-regulation where they can follow you as you teach them this breathing technique. So to begin, you're invited to just begin to find yourself feeling slightly more comfortable in your chair, especially if you notice as a therapist you're doing a lot of leaning forward. You might notice that that's been happening, and just give yourself a chance to feel support. So model feeling support for your client or the person that you're working with. So you are invited to notice the support of the chair underneath your body, maybe leaning into it just a little more. Noticing the support under your feet or your legs, allowing your legs to soften, to connect and relax. And maybe just to do a little interoception work. What do you notice happening inside of your own body right now? And bringing some attention to your breathing. Inhale and exhale. And then after you've given yourself and your client maybe a chance just to feel this little support, depending on the chair you're sitting in, you might lift your spine up just a little bit so there's some more room. And you start with your palms open at about the level of the pelvis. And we're going to follow an inhale just to the bottom of the rib cage. We spin the hands down, and then we follow the pace of the exhale with our hands moving down back to the pelvis. So just a gentle lift up. And then tracking an exhale down. You might try this 2 or 3 times. Good. The next time we're going to inhale to the heart space. Just to the center of the chest, and then exhale the hands down, following the pace of the exhale. Lifting the hands up again to the heart. Exhaling down and out. Maybe a 3rd time, just gently lifting up. And then letting the breath slowly release with the pace of the hands. This time we're going to drop to the forehead. So inhale, lifting all the way up to the center of the forehead. Spinning the hands down and slowly releasing the breath with the pace of the hands. A gentle lift up. And a release down. Maybe a 3rd time. And a release down. letting your arms and your hands rest, maybe leaning back in your chair again. Giving yourself a chance to notice what might have changed after doing just those 3 levels of breathing. It's a way to gently encourage a slowing down of the breath in a titrated way. So rather than just trying to drop the breath really quickly into the diaphragm, which isn't accessible if we're in a dorsal vagal state, or a subdiaphragmatic dorsal vagal state, trying to access diaphragmatic breath just won't be available and can actually create more issue. It's a very slow way to just titrate breath awareness without having to enforce a deep breath into the body. In fact, you're just inviting the breath to slow down and elongate. Every inhale is sympathetic charge in the body, and every exhale is that slow breaking of the parasympathetic. So we don't want the parasympathetic to move too quickly. We want it to just be a slow breaking of a sympathetic charge in the system. So one of the other things I like to do after the 3 Dantian breath is a technique where we establish boundary, especially if you yourself or the client that you're sitting with is starting to feel a little fragmented or fractured in their emotional state. So this is a way to reinforce I have space around me, I am able to hold my own. We bring our hands one over top of the other roughly in front of the pelvis, and these can all be done seated, standing, even laying down. And you inhale and zip up to the mouth, and then you exhale a big circle around the body. So you might try this with me a few times. You inhale and lift, and then exhale a boundary. Good, and you might even try that again. Inhale and lifting up, drawing energy all the way up, and then exhaling the safe boundary around the body. Sometimes when I'm practicing this, we might offer ourselves or our clients the option for a mantra or an affirmation as you're doing this. The affirmation that I feel comfortable using personally is, the only thing in or out is love. The only thing in or out is a sense of peace. You know, it can be any one of those things where we start to make a decision about what we'll accept into our boundary and what we want to put out into the world. You might even try that a 3rd time, this zip up action where we're somatically reminding ourselves that we can sympathetically charge, and then we can create a slow parasympathetic response, just slowly putting the brake on, and also determining that we have space around us that is only our own. You might allow yourself or your client to settle into that. That can be a really wonderful practice for therapists between clients as a way to set your own boundaries, as a way to contain your own space. Yeah. So let's try a 3rd type of breath work that we can bring into practice, perhaps with ourselves or with clients. This can be done in between sessions as well. If you only have a few minutes, you could introduce this to a client if you feel like they'll have the capacity to practice this. If it's a no, it's a no. You could try it with yourself first. And this is a bit of a yogic practice. And yoga really is the original somatic practice, isn't it? So what we do is we bring our hands into this little bit of a shape like a diamond. And then we horizontally tilt it. So it's kind of like this. We draw it in towards the chest. The shoulders draw back, so you're engaging the back line of the body, which is quite powerful and associated with green light reflex or a survival response of fight flight. And we put something into the center of this diamond that maybe we want to get rid of. Maybe there's some energy or something left over from a previous client that's just taking up a little bit of space, and we want to clear out in order to stabilize and feel a little more open. So you take your hands like this and you decide what you're going to put into that little diamond space. So maybe it's just like I'm feeling charged after that last client, or you might offer this to a client as this. You could place your anxiety in here, your depression. You kind of place it in there. You inhale and draw back. And then you exhale out the mouth and push it forward as you round the spine. So you round your back, and then you inhale and lift all the way up. And if it's available, this is only if your back and your arms, your shoulders can support it. It could be quite small. It could be like this, but you lift all the way up, you tip back. You might even look through that open shape between your hands. And then you exhale, boundary around the body. Seeing a theme? Good. So we inhale and draw back. We exhale, release. And then we inhale and lift. And exhale the boundary. So maybe we don't even know what we're burning off or removing from our system. You can say, I don't even know what it is, but I know there's something hanging around and it's keeping me off kilter. It's making me feel dysregulated. I'm going to put whatever that is right here. I'm going to draw it in towards my chest. It's almost like we're shooting an arrow out. And then we exhale, release, pushing it away. And then we inhale and lift. And exhale, release. Good. You might just settle here, giving yourself an opportunity to notice how you're feeling and how things might have shifted in your nervous system, in your physical body, how your shoulders feeling, your hips, your back. You might take a moment to notice how you're feeling in your mental, emotional state. How's your breath feeling right now? Does it feel a little more alive or vibrant? And then in order to ground, if that lifted you up, do you want to titrate a little bit of grounding? You might once again sit back into your chair and just sink into the support of the furniture around you, the stable nature of the floor beneath you, the structure of the room that you're in, allowing yourself just to sense that you are protected from the elements if the weather is changing or were to change. You might bring a hand maybe to the center of your chest or to your head if you wanted to. And you might take a moment here just to remind yourself that in this moment, all of your needs might be met. So just going through that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, just for yourself or for your client. You have a building to protect you. Maybe there's a water station, or they have a cup of tea beside them, or there's fresh water out of the tap, reminding yourself that if you're thirsty, you can drink. Reminding yourself or your client that there's purpose in their life. It doesn't have to be their big purpose. It could just be their purpose for the next hour is to investigate and feel and work with you. You might remind yourself and your client that there are forms of support in terms of people, maybe your relationship with your client and them with you. You might call to mind with yourself and your client maybe a person or a pet that's been supportive or protective, calling in a circle of support. And then once again, just tracking inhale and exhale. This connection to being alive and being here, right now. No right or wrong way to breathe. Allowing everything to settle. So those are some easy breath work that I like to offer to myself, to the people that I'm working with. I'll teach it in larger classes as well as one-on-one sessions. It's just a way to co-regulate, to notice breathing, to stay present in the moment without it being too fast. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you find these techniques useful. My name is Stacey Madden. You can find me at staceymadden.com. Thank you for your time.